Hello everyone, thanks again for giving us this opportunity to talk to you. This is another shareholder update, and this one is mostly oriented around this new division of the business, new department in the business, which we're calling it digital science. So we just want to provide a bit of a more context about it and also introduce Andrew Fisher. Andrew, thank you very much. Thanks for joining us. Welcome on board.
Thanks, Ali. I'm very pleased to be here. It's been a little while coming in, but I'm really excited about what we're planning on doing and sharing with everyone today as well about what we're doing.
Awesome. So to just start about the context and where the story came from and what was essentially the genesis of digital science. So it is essentially when we were investigating our bio-optics, our eye applications, eye filler application of the technology, we came up with this sort of a new polymer that we almost had it in our library, but we needed to sort of dig deep into the data that we had about the properties of the materials, how we can adjust it, how we can formulate that polymer, and then what are the essentially expectation for that new polymer. So that was essentially the light bulb moment that if we had an AI system embedded within the organization, within all the data that we already acquired and we have, we could have essentially innovate and essentially develop the technology faster, more expedited, and more efficiently, more than anything else. So that was the genesis of the thinking to be able to develop not only the new products but also what we have in the pipeline in a better and more efficient manner by using the AI. So that was where it started, and it took us a while to sort of troubleshoot some of the elements, and essentially came across Andrew and Andrew's experience that we'll talk about, and then that was essentially the birth of the digital science. The way that we put it, basically, if we have our Tetra Matrix as our hardware platform, we just wanted to make a software platform for our platform. So that was the genesis of the background. So Andrew, let's get on with it. So what do you think about this digital science and what you think that we are trying to do here?
Yeah, it's a pretty exciting space. And look, this is not about building AI for just AI's sake. We're really not in the territory of going away and building a chatbot. That's really not what we're talking about here at all. Fundamentally, what's happened is we've now hit a period in time where the capabilities around machine learning, digital science, AI have moved from being interesting to now being operationalizable. And they're way more cost effective for us to be able to deploy that, especially as a small growing organization. So these capabilities that we've got available to us now, they're either meaningfully or close enough that we can start to actually layer them across the entirety of the organization. So whether that's research, whether it's the manufacturing side, whether it's the operations side, we can build that and weave them all the way through the business, not just have this AI thing tacked onto the side, but really change how we're actually thinking about how we're doing it. And as a young business and a scaling business in particular, this is a really good opportunity for us to actually build this in now as we scale and grow and use this as part of our mechanism of scaling and growing, rather than getting 5 years down the track and realizing that we have to retrofit all this stuff, and all of a sudden we're much bigger, got more people, got more processes, and we have to retrofit everything to do it. So it's a great opportunity to do it now. Technology's become available for us to be able to do it now.
So Andrew, if we just go a little bit sort of a deeper, like Shiri would have said, if we double click on essentially that core of the AI that we want to have, and how do you see that interact with, for example, our quality, regulatory, and the clinical? Because it's very important, especially for shareholders, to see how this can essentially help the company to scale and grow and develop the products, specifically the ones in the pipeline, faster and more efficiently.
Absolutely. So it's really taking a holistic approach to how we think about the organization. And first and foremost, it's about helping us build better systems for us to scale our decision making, but also compound our knowledge over time. So when we get better decisions and we get a knowledge flywheel that starts to get created, then we can start to kind of scale much more appropriately for that. So at a practical level, what does that mean? Well, it means starting to turn every piece of work that we do into an opportunity to get data out of our processes, whether that's an experiment or whether it's a production run, we can start to collate that information to understand better about what's the performance of our materials. Once we start to have that data, we can start to build more like an opportunity radar. Can we understand what needs are out in market and then be able to match those needs to the performance characteristics of the materials? And then how are we understanding the evidence that we need to build over time so that as we're doing our production runs, as we're doing research, as we're developing products, we're capturing all of that evidence as we're going, and so we get that continuous evidence cycle. So then it speeds up our process to be able to get through those regulatory hurdles as we kind of go through. So it really gives us this living map of kind of like material performance, scanning, and then that evidence creation, and that's how we start getting that flywheel of knowledge compounding over time.
Amazing. And like basically we'll be able to see like if, for example, our Tetratherix product from the ideation to clinical trial took us like 24 months, how long it would, how fast we can get that done for our next irritations, for our next products into that phase. So we will be able to have a very tangible, measurable sort of like criteria to assess the success in future by initiating this sort of like a digital science department. So Andrew, talk us about your experience. Like what is that background that you will be able to help us with this division?
So it's funny you ask, Ali. So I actually started in AI at university many years ago now. But the tech just really, at a practical level, just was not ready for kind of prime time. It was fine from a research standpoint, but there was no commercial outcome for that. And I have very much a commercial bent. So, you know, I basically spent the kind of early part of my career building foundations in systems, technology, data capabilities that really underpin how organizations build those systems and really understand it so that way, you know, down the line now, AI really can start to leverage that. So I used to work at ESOP, where I led quite big teams across technology, data, and digital. Now, it's a vertically integrated business. It's not just dealing with the kind of like front-end digital kind of customer experience kind of stuff or retail experience side of things. You're managing research, materials, supply chain, logistics, product, you know, all the way through to customer sales, and that's at a global kind of level. So that really forces you to have to think in systems, and particularly data and how data connects across the life cycles of different things that are kind of occurring.
That's exactly what we want to do here.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then really thinking about how do you propagate decisions across kind of an organization at that scale, and how are you maintaining quality all the way through that process. More recently, I've been advising organizations across manufacturing, retail, healthcare, primarily around data and AI cases, which is how we started getting into contract.
Absolutely.
And the consistent thread of all of that really has been, and goes back to where I started, it's the success comes from really, really good data, great processes, and great decision making, not just deploying a model.
Amazing. So when I talk about when we pitched that business, we say, we've been ahead of a trend like 10 years ago when we developed the technology. You were ahead of a trend like 20, 25 years? I don't want to go with it.
That's okay. But it was amazing. Prime time when I started, for sure.
This is great, Andrew. Anything else we need to add here for the shareholders?
No, I'm just really excited about the opportunity. Being able to blend, as you put it, the kind of the Tetra Matrix platform that we've built and the hardware that we've built around that, with now this kind of like decision-making software that will really, really help us scale is amazing. So exciting. So exciting.
Andrew, I'm so glad that you're on board. Welcome on board again. And we look forward to provide more updates to shareholders on this new division, new departments within the business. Everyone, again, thank you very much for listening. Please reach out if there's any questions. Look forward to hearing from you, and we'll be in touch. Thank you very much.